Hello everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, wherever this is going to be seen, clipped, or brought in. The lighting kind of sucks this morning, doesn't it? I apologize for that. So, let me do some things here and here. Alright, sorry for the late come in on my own show. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. Welcome to the show. I would normally be here at 412, but I didn't get in till almost midnight last night and got a tiny bit of sleep this morning. So, there you go. Adjust that lighting just a hair. All right, so good morning, everybody. Mr. Roy Joe Twilight Twinkle Toes Bradley Jr. right there. Big Knicks fan right there. He is the hugest Knicks fan I know. He loves them. He was happy that they won last night. So there you go. Everything's good, buddy. I just got a little bit of sleep after getting home at about midnight last night from the rodeo. Yes, we went to the Old Fort Days Rodeo here in Fort Smith, Arkansas. We got there about 5:45, 6 o'clock, roughly. Probably about close to 5:45, if I had to guess. And see, he's loving the Knicks right there. He's already praising them right there. He said he's a Knicks fan right there. And he claims to be this slacker fan right there, but he really likes the Knicks. Don't let him fool you. Now my team advanced, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he said he's a Pacers fan now. Wait, what? You need to pick your team, buddy. You need to pick your team. And so you only have one allegiance, like in football. Yeah, I know you have 15 allegiances there. So, you know, but it's all good, brother. It's all good, brother. Now the rodeo was pretty cool last night. We got to watch quite a few things. The kids were some of the funny ones, doing the mutton busting, and then the what was the one where they're riding the sheep? I don't know what that one's called, but I think only two of them made it all the way to the end. So there you go. It was quite humorous. Now, on that same token, you had your bull riders, your calf ropers, your steer wrestling, and all that good stuff. So we stayed till the end. A lot of people did end up leaving early before some of the events, the final events, and it was cool. Now, as far as vendors and stuff goes, it's nothing like the fair where you've got vendors all over the place or any conventions or anything like that. They had a few. They probably had five different vendors there, if I had to guess. And of course, they're geared towards the Western scene and all that good stuff. I did pick up a couple things. She picked up a hat. I picked up something, a little bit more dangerous, if you will, from Whiskey Ranch, the original knives from Whiskey Ranch. Right here. Whiskey Ranch, Whiskey Ranch. All right. This was cool. It comes with its own little sheath as well, so you can carry it with you at any point in time so you don't cut yourself up. Right there, but you can slide it into your belt like that, right through your loop right there somehow. That's a tiny little belt loop right there. You gotta have some tiny belts for this damn thing. Dallas Cowboys, Lakers, Pacers, Saints. Wow, you're a Saints fan too? Wow, that's crazy. And you like the Cardinals? Oh my god. Wow. Mr. Roy Joe Bradley, Twinkle Toes Twilight Jr. You got a lot of teams you like. Now this little knife right here, you can shave with it if you really want to, and I could if I really wanted to. Yeah, took off a couple little hairs right there. But it's a pretty cool little knife right there. It doesn't quite fit my hand, as you see. I've got a big hand. Yes, I have a big puncture right there. But it's pretty cool. It's like a straight razor, if you will. So that's pretty interesting and cool. I liked it. I wish they would have had it in a Damascus pattern, and I really would have loved this one. And this was the only one I would have bought. you know, at the time. So there's number one. I did end up buying two knives. See, it's a little bit bigger than the other. If I hold up the cases together, right there, it's just a hair bit bigger. Not a whole lot bigger, but just a hair. Just a hair. So you got two knives here. And this one right here. Bum bum bum. It's got a Damascus raindrop pattern in it as well. It was a very complicated knife, if you will. I don't know if you can see that right here, what I'm talking about with the raindrop. It's got the different raindrop patterns going on in here, right here. And but it does have that Damascus pattern in the blade itself down here. Again, I don't know if you can see that 100%. Much appreciated there, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. Again, this one doesn't quite fit my hand either. I think they were made for some girls or something. I don't know. But they're very cool. Now, they did have a couple of bigger knives that I probably would have bought, but they just weren't cool enough, in my opinion. But, that's two of my pickups. She picked up a hat, a pretty cool looking red dirt hat, I think it was. Has a Thunderbird on it. The typical Indian Thunderbird. And it's got some pastel colors on it, and it's very cool looking. This right here, we'll go ahead and talk about it, since I'm going to be using my hands a lot, and you're going to see it a lot. Sorry for the vodka early this morning. No, I'm kidding. There's no vodka in that, or so you think. So this right here ended up puncturing my hand on a screw last night. I was going in for an egg that was in our old goat house, and we had taken the edge off of the goat house to where it keeps the hay in and all that good stuff. And I didn't see the screw that was apparently been sitting there since we took that edge off. And I put the full weight of my hand on that screw, and it went. You could hear it go. And with the screw, since screws have this nice little ridge on it like that, you could hear each one of those. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Go into my hand, and about the same as I pulled it out. So then I pinched it off tight, just like that. I walked into the house, grabbed me two Band-Aids, slapped it on. No, I didn't put anything on it. I will today. I will wash it out good. I know some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's going to get infected. That's why you get shots, people. Tetanus shots and things like that. So, all right. So, that's some of the cool stuff that happened yesterday. Like I said, we were there until about midnight. Well, actually, we weren't there until midnight. The rodeo ended a little closer to 11-ish, 10:30, 10:45, somewhere in there. Then we went to Denny's, and then we were there for forever. So we won't be doing that little experience again. They had one server. The manager was there, but she wasn't doing anything. They had two cooks, and they had maybe 5 people on the inside. A table, two tops, if you know what that means. Pacers should have won, not with the score I saw. Pacers looked like they deserved to lose according to that score, or the Knicks should have. No, the Pacers should have won to the score I saw. So I don't know what happened to your other team there, your Knickerbockers or your Pacers or whoever it is. The Pacers and Knicks. I'm not worried about it because the Thunder advanced and they're waiting for whoever wins this thing out of you guys, out of your teams. So, but no, it was like the guy was inconvenienced that was working, the server that was there, and it's like you had two tops or two tables or tables with 2 people at each one, and you had there was one up in the corner. They got their stuff and left. They had another one here, and us, and then another couple walked in, and a third walked in, but that was way behind us. But it was still like he was serving a crowded house, you know. And it was just like, yeah, that's my stamp that I got, that we got. This says THR. I guess that's theater. I don't know, theater seating. I don't know. And so he was acting like the place was crowded, but I mean, we hardly saw him, as far as um, wait staff goes. So this is Denny's on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Yes, Roy, Joe, Twinkle Toes, Twilight, Bradley Jr. I said Denny's. And now thinking about it, we probably should have went to one of the other 24-hour places like Waffle House or IHOP or something like that. Even though IHOP isn't preferable either anymore, but you know, it is what it is. We got some food in our stomachs and might be disagreeing with us this morning. All that good stuff. But it was still some food, and it was a greasy food to be exact. And it was a one of Roy Joe Twinkle Toes Bradley Twilight Jr.'s greasy burgers. It was a bourbon burger, had all this stuff on it. My kind of stuff, not his. I mean, this guy down here, Mr. Roy Joe Twinkle Toes Bradley Twilight Jr. He definitely likes some weird stuff. He likes some anchovies and some salmon on his burgers. With a little bit of peanut butter, and then some. After the peanut butter, you get some chili poured on top of it, and then some avocado slices, and then some Swiss and provolone cheese, and you got to have all the veggies too. He loves the onion, the tomato, the lettuce, the spinach, the cauliflower. I mean, he puts all that on his hamburger. You know, so he's got a hamburger that's like this big. 100%. I mean, this thing is massive, and you know, and he loves it. He goes yum yum to my tum tum. Mm-mm, is what he says. You know, and so, but I'm waiting to see what he has to say to that. All right. So as you all know, I do incentives with Antarctic Press, and with that token, I basically, in essence, work with Ben Dunn. Not like work with him. I don't get paid by him or anything like that. But I do reviews on their product, which is their comic books. And no, IHOP, or now IHOP is really good, bub. Well, I mean, it's good to know, but it used to be crap. But Denny's has gone the way of the crap side. And so we do, I do my incentive, which I get their stuff, which will be a drop today. He'll be dropping me some comic books today, and so I will review them, and that's what I do. I give an honest opinion, an honest review of the comics as they come through. Now, I don't like everything that they put out, 100%. There's been several titles inside of each book that I don't like, but that's okay. That gives an honest review of what they can do better for the next time. And then I find out that another friend of mine, Mr. Brian Denham, actually works for them and has worked for them for a while, and I didn't know this. And I don't know how I missed this because I follow him on several different platforms on the social medias, and for some reason I did not know that he worked at Antarctic Press as the editor in chief, basically over there. You are not being honest about me right now. How is that not being honest? You like all them veggies, and that you like your burger to be this tall with all that stuff on it. I mean, I've seen you with your burgers. That's a good old pacer burger right there that you like to eat. Am I fibbing? No, let's be honest. He likes strawberry jam on his burgers. No. So, this is going to be my big shout out to Mr. Ben Dunn. He didn't have to do what he did, but he did it anyway. Um, he's had comics that he puts up for sale on a regular basis. He does a Saturday, so tomorrow he will do a big push on stuff that he's got sitting around that he wants to sell. Well, I just inquired about a couple of titles that he had, which is adults only title. It's called Bondage Fairies, and um, he and I'll show you the nicer cover of everything here. This is book two out of the three that he did send me. So I think it's a 6 issue set, and so I've got three of the six now. Since he sent them to me, it was very awesome. And so this was back in 1994 by Venus Comics, and he did some cover work for them and some other stuff for them. He might have written it and stuff like that. I haven't opened them up, because he did autograph them for me too. Because I was talking about, hey, I would like to get some autograph stuff from you, and he was like, no problem, I'll hook you up with some autographs. And next thing I know, I'm getting a notification from stamps.com, which is what he uses to send uh, packages to people from Antarctic Press and from himself. And boom, all of a sudden, I get three comic books in the mail with his autograph on them. And it's just like, dude, I wasn't asking to get, free comps of stuff. I was just asking, what the prices would be for all of them, plus the trade paperback with your autograph on them. And here he is sending out this comic books, you know, of a very old 1994 comic. And let me just look something up here real fast. I got to go to my other computer. I'm sorry. Because there's several runs in this category when it comes to bondage fairies. Okay, and they are done by various companies. Okay, so the ones by Antarctic Press, which is under the Viz comic or Venus Comics title, if you were to get these in first print condition and mint condition, you're looking at somewhere in the vicinity of $1,250 for number one, which I have sitting here. But I think it's the third print to it. And I'm going to see which print this one is, because I think this one is also a later print. Yeah, this is the third printing of the book. I did have to open it up, and it is not for children, 100%. I'm not going to show you anything in this book because it is definitely not for kids. That's from the opening page. And so, but yes, third printing of these books. So if you had the first print to these from 1994, you'd be sitting on a gold mine, right now. Now, even the comic company that I'm looking at over here does not have the third printings or anything like that. So, you know, just know this book is not for children. If you go look for it, that's why it says adults only up here. Bondage Fairies. I have number one, two, and six, and I'm not sure. These all could be third printings for all I know, which is totally fine because I'm not in it for the money value on these. It's just for the collector value on these for me. But to get them sent to me basically free of charge and to autograph them at the same time, that's a big thing, a big deal, because people just don't do that anymore. That just shows the character of Ben Dunn and Antarctic Press, you know. And I did turn around and buy some titles from them from Antarctic Press. Um, a bunch of blank covers. which they call their sketchbooks, and so I'm looking forward to those coming in as well. So but he didn't have to do that. Is all what I'm trying to say. And you just don't get that from people anymore. So a huge shout out to Ben Dunn and Antarctic Press for doing that. Even though they are third prints, you know, that's again not a big deal to me. So, and they don't even have certain copies of these books for the first or second print. They've only got book three, first print, in a very fine condition. They've got book two in a near mint condition, and then they have a book one in a near mint condition. Now, even their third print in a very fine or near mint condition is putting you close to $500 just for book number one. So, he did not have to send those, period, because I wasn't asking him for those um, at all. I was just wanting an autograph from him and, to pay him for some books. But he sent them to me basically free of charge, so that was very kind of him. And again, it shows the character that he is. He's been in the industry for so long that he knows what it means to, you know, keep people connected to his company. And thanks for the likes. Please like, share, and follow. It helps us out here for 412 Productions and the Art of Monty Anderson. Back to the vodka. All right. So I got him some new pieces for my printer, 3D printer, and it seems to be working because I've got to clean this out. But apparently, this one was getting crappy. This vat, it's a vat right here. This was what holds your resin inside of it, and apparently it's pretty shot. So I can take this one off and put one of the new membranes in, as well. But on that same token, I ended up getting, two new vats right here, plus some new screens to replace my other ones with. And so basically, what you do, this is the cover to the vat, by the way. So these little membranes right here are pretty sensitive. So you don't want to get them scratched up or get any residue on them and stuff like that, because if you try to clean these off, it can damage these membranes that are on here. And so you try to keep them as clean as possible, and you try to keep them as protected as possible. Well, apparently mine got damaged at some point in time in the cleaning process, and I didn't realize it. So it was causing all of my prints to fuck up, basically, if you will. Where's the Fireball and Dr. Pepper at Monty Joe? Well, I don't know who Monty Joe is, but the Fireball's on top of the fridge. I saw somebody say, if I were to break into your house and steal what's on top of your fridge, what would I get? Well, you would get my Fireball, a little bit of whiskey, and some hot ones, hot pepper infused vodka, and then a bunch of milk, or not milk crates, a bunch of egg crates. You know, so there you go. That's where my Fireball is. There is no Dr. Pepper in the house, to believe it or not, right now. I still need to get a cure machine. Is what I need to get for the house, so I can a wash and cure machine, because I'm noticing these little guys are still leaking the resin. So I need to get a wash and cure machine for these. And this was my very first successful print that finally worked off of this old vat right here, the old vat, vat right there. It still has the resin in it. I got to clean it out, but and then I don't really need to clean it out because I'm gonna take this off and put a new membrane on and go from there. And so that'll be fun to change that out. I'm not Monty Joe. I don't know who a Monty Joe is. Sorry, buddy. You got the wrong person. You gotta quit looking at witness protection. You gotta stop drinking that Fireball and Dr Pepper there, buddy. Especially this early in the morning. I know you haven't been to bed yet, so I have, and I'll be up the rest of the day. We got a whole day planned for today. We're actually taking the dog over to the vet to get some flea and tick medicine, and then to get him fixed, and then we got to go do my paperwork finally for my truck at the revenue office. That'll be fun. As 8 months in the making on that end, and then we're looking at some ducks. Howdy, howdy, Monty. What do we got here? The Humble Bumble 66. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming in and checking things out. But like I said, Ben Dunn didn't have to do what he did with the Antarctic Press at all. And for him to send just 3 comic books in the mail, boom, done, with autographs, and I wasn't even asking for it. And so that's very cool. Yeah, yeah, it is about damn time for that truck. I mean, 8 months in the making just to get a damn title for the truck, you know. And then even the bondsman told me, well, you could have just taken your receipt over there 2 weeks ago, and it took 2 weeks for the paperwork from the title from the bondsman to come in, so I can finish this thing with their notary on it and all that stuff. So yeah, 8 months in the making. I'm trying to get a title for this damn truck, and then I was looking at a trailer because I'm in the need for a trailer for the homestead with all the stuff that I haul and things of that nature. Um, Found one that was decent priced, and I met the guy. And as soon as I saw it, we were in the truck, and I said, "If this is the trailer, it's a no go right off the bat." And sure enough, it was the guy and the trailer, and it had like donut tires on it, and had some flimsy metal welded to the basically a boat trailer that was redone, but it had no sidewalls, had nothing. It just had a flimsy metal grate uh, welded to the frame of this uh, trailer, and it was just like I looked it over, made it look like I was really looking it over really good, but I already told her when we were in the truck. Now, if this is it, that we're not getting this trailer. And they hyped it up as 17 foot long. No, it had a 4 foot long tongue. So if you measure it from the tongue to the end, yeah, it's probably 17 foot. But that's not how you measure a trailer. You don't measure the tongue portion to the trailer. You measure the trailer itself. Where the deck is and all that stuff. And then 4 foot side to side, and it was just like I told him. I looked at it. I was like, no, this thing isn't going to haul what I want to haul, and it really won't. So I wasn't lying to him. It's just that the pictures made it look a lot better. Just like a lot of people say, pictures make it look better. And in this case, it did. So we're still on the hunt for another trailer. So that trailer didn't work out for us. But once I get my truck, with a tag on it and all that good shit, it'll make it easier for me to go do this stuff instead of talking to her dad and being like, hey, can I borrow your truck again? Hey, can I borrow your truck again? Can I borrow your trailer again? Those type of things. He doesn't mind unless he's got something going on himself, which is understandable. And yes, this is my Universal Monster Cup right there. The classics. All the classics that you love. The original horror show is what it says on it. But that's my bag. That's my game. Horror is my thing. And I'm excited about a lot of things happening. And especially printing, 3D printing again. I had a successful 3D print yesterday. It finished up sometime while we were at the rodeo. I've got to wash it and clean it. Some stuff that I was trying to do for her mom, for Mother's Day as well, and my mother as well. And so now I'm able to do that, and a little bit easier now that these vats are working the way I want them to. So congratulations to me on that. Woo! It's again, I've had this printer for roughly 2 years, and I just fired it up. What? month and a half, 2 months ago, and no, my nobody, my you're misinformed there because my glass does not sparkle in the sun like that stupid movie with those stupid vampires that can't act. But anyway, so there you go. Now let's go back to the rodeo just for a minute. All right. So we get there and we walk around first. We go look at the vendors and stuff like that. See what's out there. She liked some stuff that she wanted, so we ended up getting that at the end of the night before we left. And just like the knives, I got those whenever we left out there. But we got some food, kind of like the fair. It's all overpriced shit. And so we stop at the first deal. We get two drinks, and she got this cup of corn. Now the cup was probably literally about this big of corn. Okay, and it's street corn, basically Hispanic Mexican style street corn in a cup. $27 right off the bat, just for those three items. Nothing else bought there. So then we go over to the next spot, thinking we're gonna get a from their pictures on their stuff some good looking food. We probably should have picked something else like a barbecue sandwich of some sort from chicken or beef. But we did the barbecue nachos. Well, they pull it out and hand it to us. There's a little bit of meat on it, a little bit of barbecue sauce, a lot of cheese, and there you go. We have pictures of it on her page right now. But literally about this big of a nacho, your typical round nachos inside, about yay deep, if I had to guess, and it was nothing to write home about, and that was $24 for that for two of those. So $51 on absolutely nothing really. Um, Not even really appetizer food. So if you do go back to the rodeo, which ends on the Saturday or Sunday, I'm not exactly sure what day it actually ends, but I think it is Sunday, the first. Oh, just eat before you go, or get you a turkey leg. But the turkey legs are still rather expensive. They're $18 for one turkey leg. I mean, they're good sized turkey legs, but $18 for a turkey leg. I mean, I get it. They're making money because they're the ones set up out at the fair, and they know people are going to buy for the most part. But give your people a little bit of substance. Don't just give your like three dollops of meat on a barbecue nacho and call it good. You and it's just like, all right then, that was a waste of money all the way around. So, but yeah, that was the most disappointing part of the night. The the events were good. Good morning. How's it going out there? And I appreciate you stopping in. Please like, share, and follow. Um, damn it, man. That's a good title. That's awesome. I love it. I love some of the names that people come up with. You know, for their handles out there. Their names on TikToker. And I mean, it's the same with Facebook because you can change your name to whatever you want now, and they don't even give a shit, and which is good. That's the basically the freedom of speech portion right there. I say it a lot. So, damn it, man! Sound like Dr. McCoy from Star Trek. Bones. Damn it, Jim! He's dead, and I'm a doctor, but I can't save him. That's awesome. But welcome to the show. We're talking about the big shout out to Mr. Ben Dunn, Antarctic Press production crew owner. Basically he's been running Antarctic Press. Well, my morning is a lot better than the other morning that I should have been live, which um, I didn't go live, and I apologize on that day because that was today is what, the 30th, Friday the 30th. It was the 28th, Wednesday. I had zero motivation, and I I really didn't do much that day at all. I tried to work myself into some motivation, but it didn't help. I had, it's kind of like the Seattle grunge scene. That's why everybody was so grungy and angry, because it's been raining for so long. Can't do shit out in my yard. I can't continue my build on my chicken coop that I need to get done so I can get these birds moved all into one space. And so it drives you nuts a little bit. And I just lost all motivation on the 28th. So I did absolutely nothing. I didn't do any artwork. I didn't do any housework. I didn't do any yard work. And it needs to be done. But I've got my motivation back, a little bit more now than I did, because I'm falling behind on some projects, things that I've told people that I would get out to them. A book cover for this whole chapter book that I'm working on with a guy, and sorry to hear that. Glad you're back. Me too. I mean, it happens. It's very very rare that it happens to me, but it does happen. And I hate it when it happens because you just feel like, well, this just sucks 100%. I'm not helping anybody in any situation, in anything like that, any capacity. That little string keeps popping up, but all right. So, but no, we're back, and like I said, shout out to Ben Dunn for doing what he did. He didn't have to send those comic books, period, but he did anyway, and which is very awesome of him. Again, it shows his nature in the industry, and what it's truly about, connecting with your fans, and just doing things for people, which people just don't do that anymore. So I'm happy with this print. I've got to pull it off and all that stuff, but I don't have my gloves on. I don't have all that stuff to wash and cure it just right this second. So I've got to get it washed in a alcohol wash. Use a 91% alcohol basically to wash it off with. Um, and like I said, they still leak just a little bit because this one's still leaking resin out of it right now. Right here on the side. Right here on the side, just a little bit. You can see where it's still a little juicy right there. But now, this was one of my only successful prints um, from my initial run of starting this thing up and getting it going. She was semi-successful, but she's still leaking resin out everywhere as well. A little Playboy bunny, if you will. And you can see where I had to fix her right here in this little white spot right there, and then on her heel where it broke, and I'll sand all that down and off. But those were two of my successful prints, even though it printed a little wonky on this front edge right here. And so I've got to sand all this down to make it smooth and flat so it doesn't rock back and forth. And one of these days I'll get it sprayed and painted and all of that goody good stuff. So, but I do appreciate each and everybody being here, checking out the channel. If you would like, share, follow, all that good stuff, and I will follow you back. Now, up here, not here on Facebook and YouTube, but right here on TikTok, you can go up there and find all of those channels that I add, my socials that I have, which is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I've got those in out of place and out of order. But if you go to my website, you will see underneath my 412 Productions, the Artemon Anderson Alien logo, you will see my socials right there, and you can click on those and follow me there as well. So, where are you going? I'm not going anywhere. We still have a whole lot more show to go, Mr. Roy Joe Twinkle Toes Bradley Twilight Jr. You saying you're going to bed? Is that what you're telling me? You Pacers fan out there. Can't stand the Heat since they won it last night. You should be happy that your team won last night. No, I'm not killing the show. I'm not done yet. We still have 40 minutes or 20 minutes to go. We always do an hour show, buddy. Sometimes it turns into a 2 hour show, depending on the bantering back and forth between people. So that's a good thing. But no, in reality, this show was about talking about Mr. Ben Dunn and his adults only book, Bondage Fairies, right there. He did autograph this, and this is one of three that he did send me. Um, I mean, I guess I can show two of the three covers. This is number one right here. She's on a strawberry with cream. So this is book number one and number two, and it is a 6 issue series. So I have three of the six, which is one, two, and six. So I need three, four, and five to finish out this set. Now he does have a trade paperback that's never been read that he did find that I'm asking and inquiring about on that one to get. So that way I have the whole series of it in trade paperback form. And I'm a big comic book guy, and my artwork reflects that as well. And again, I'm excited with this rebuild year for my stuff because I am working on my own projects. But in the meantime, too, I still have to, you know, make the money from commissions and things like that and get product out to people as well. So there you go. Um, I'm looking at hopefully, having my own 3D printed action figures and stuff like that for my line as well. So I'm gonna be learning, put myself back to school basically, if you will. How to do some STL files, create STL files, and things like that. And I know you got Blender out there. You've got what are some of the other ones out there? Uh, See, I can't think of what the other ones are, and I've got some of them on my computer right now. But with that token, I need a newer computer that can handle that type of stuff, 100%. And it's just like on that same token, I don't want to learn it, but I gotta learn it so I can create my own stuff. And that's what I want to do. I want to create my own action figures. I want to create my own pops. I want to create my own, different things for my own characters. And and that's what it's about. It's not about just taking somebody else's STL file. And hello, who do we have here? Dr. Dawn. Are you a real doctor, or do you just play one on TV? I mean, we've gotten all kinds of people on here, to talk about comics and everything else. You're a biologist. That's awesome. Very cool. Congratulations. The world needs more biologists. Um, and Mr. Roy Joe Twinkle Toes Bradley Twilight Jr. says, "Hello, welcome in." And that's very cool. The biology of things. No, I like it. I like it. I don't have any biology in my comic book. I might need to do that. I need to put a little biology in there. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff in there, cryptids and aliens, which is part of the cryptid world. Paranormal stuff, witchcraft, not full witchcraft, but there's all kinds of stuff in there. Tagging sharks Monday, that's awesome. That's very cool. See, my daughter wanted to do that, but she didn't like the science of it all, so she changed majors. She went into the editing world, is what she ended up doing. And so hopefully she's doing well with that. I haven't talked to her in a while, but that's neither here nor there. So, but that's very awesome. Which sharks are you going to be tagging? A variety, I hope. Lemons, hammers, great whites. Everybody on here have an awesome day. Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. is still trying to leave us yet again. And I'm hearing some cats get into it outside or inside. I don't know which. I think it's outside. I'm going to bed. See ya. See ya. Yeah. Them Pacers fans can't hang. He probably went to Taco Bell at like 2 in the morning as well to get him some grill hub out there. So good night, Roy, Joe, Twinkle Toes, Bradley, Twilight Jr. You have a great sparkly day to yourself out there. Make sure you sparkle in the sun when you do see it again. But now, Roy, you have a great, great time, a great day, sir. And thank you for being here on the broadcast channel. But now, this, what we do here is we talk comic books, we talk movies, we talk a little bit about everything, real life situations, all kinds of stuff, just like no motivation and things of that nature. So hammers, but hopefully we find some mature tigers. Yeah, that'll be cool. So that he's a biologist. He's going to be tagging sharks in the Gulf, and so he's looking at tagging some hammerheads, and then he's also hoping to find some tiger sharks. So to tag, so that they can track their progress, know where they go, their migration habits and all that good stuff. And then which is very awesome. I watch a lot of shark shows, not just on Shark Week. You know, a lot of horror movies about sharks too, which gives them a misconception as well. You know, I wanted to swim with some hammerheads in Hawaii, but that beach was closed at the time because there was man o' war in the water, so we couldn't get out there to go look to see if the hammerheads were there. It was a spot frequently, very frequented by hammerheads there in Hawaii on Oahu, and it was over by closer to the witch's hat out there, and or the Chinaman's hat, whichever one you want to call it. So, but no, it was very cool. You know, I wanted to swim with some sharks, but we never got that opportunity while we were there. Good morning, Casey. Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. And always good to see familiar faces coming back to the show, which is very awesome, very cool. And right now, Doctor Doctor crap, Doctor Dawn. That's it. I wouldn't be able to swim with sharks because I've got a wound right here, and they would smell that within a heartbeat, and then I would be eaten like a shark, like in Jaws. But I mean, that would kind. I mean, I don't know if that'd be cool or not, but it'd be a good war story. Which I've got my own war stories, all that good stuff. But nothing about sharks. I do have about a barracuda, 6 foot barracuda, black tip barracuda. That was very coul. He got within 5 feet of me because he saw my dog tags hanging down while I was swimming in the oceans of Hawaii, and it was just like, "What is that?" And then it was like, "Oh, you're a barracuda. Oh, you're a 6 foot black tip barracuda, and you're all of 6 foot." Casey's not a fan of the sea. I'm sorry, I love the sea. I snorkeled for about 2 hours straight when we got there in Afghanistan, in Hawaii, because I was a trainer with the military, and we were helping train the Tropic Thunder over there. And so we were there 3 weeks. Only worked a week and a half, but the rest of the time we were out exploring the island and stuff like that. We're trying to get Alabama to open up shark fishing because of overpopulation. Oh, well, that makes sense. And the overpopulation, that makes sense too, for Alabama. And Casey says it scares me to dive. I can't do it. I panic. I mean, I get that. There's a lot of people that get claustrophobic when it comes to, even though it's open, it's closed. If that makes any sense, because you're in a apparatus number one, you're in the suit number two, and then if you have the weights on you as well to take you down, those type of things, and I get it. Uh, but it's understandable. I mean, people have those things go on, and it it hurts them, whenever they try to do something fun, and people try to overcome those fears as well, um, and it just makes it worse sometimes. Now there are instances where people do get out of that fear, eventually, but we have an Army engineer. He's very good, and he's retired. I can't dive over bridges like the ones in Houston. Gotcha. See, I wanted to dive, but we didn't have 3 consecutive days, and they wouldn't take us um, because you had to have 3 consecutive days in a row that you could devote to the dive, and it was days, not just an hour here, 2 hours there, whatever. So we didn't get dive certified because we couldn't do that. But I snorkeled the heck out of that sea, while I was in again, not Afghanistan, while I was in Hawaii, and diving is beautiful on video. Yeah, it is. It watching them go down and look at all the fish and the sharks and the whales and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's very cool. Are you near Alabama? You can go with me. No, I'm not actually. I'm in Arkansas. I mean, I'm close to Alabama per se. Um, and right now we are landlocked in Arkansas, in the Fort Smith, Arkansas area. Yeah, that's why we're talking about the rodeo. The reef is my favorite in Australia. That'd be cool. That would be cool. Now there is a new Alone Australia right now on Hulu, I think. So that'd be cool. I would definitely look you up if I was in Alabama. If you're ever down here, yeah, I mean that would be very cool. Um, because next year, I'm hoping to be in those a little bit farther away states than Arkansas for the comic book conventions and things like that. So maybe one of these days, you know, um, so that would be kind of cool to just go out and do a little bit of diving, a little dive time. And it says, Casey, I dove in Perth in Brisbane. Beautiful. See, that's cool. I mean, that's stuff that I've always wanted to do and always been interested in is getting closer to those type things, seeing the reefs and the real moray eels. I've seen a few moray eels in Hawaii and some other striped eels and things like that, some yellow and black ones. And on video, that would be awesome. I've and I've got video of swimming with the sea turtles and the fish and all that stuff, but not as clear as some of these other ones that you see. Because I had a camera inside of a waterproof box that wasn't supposed to be inside that box and yada yada yada. So you know, so it wasn't as pretty. I mean, it still looks great, uh, but it's not as clear as the professionals you see out there now. And so one of these days, I'll write you so you can watch my dives. Do you have a feeling of them communicating with you diving? Do you have a feeling of them communicating with you diving? Oh, you mean the fish and stuff like that? Well, yeah, you get that vibe with them, and you know, and especially with their whenever they're with you, and deeper dives, I'm sure you get that vibe, 100%. Because I felt it with the sea turtles. You couldn't touch the sea turtles and stuff like that, but you could swim with them, and it was very cool that feeling you got as you're moving along in the water with them, those type things. And the other fish like the parrotfish and things like that, you know, it's very cool. So, and Casey says, Dr. Don, I would love that, so he can watch your videos. And Dr. Don says, honestly, yes. And so it's a great big world when you get underneath the ocean. And, even snorkeling. I know it's different than diving. And you get that peace, because it's just you in the water and all the fish that you see, you know. And, yeah, in Hawaii, you don't get to see a whole lot of reef right there where, on the shores, especially if you're just snorkeling um, and things like that. He dives a rebreather and can stay down 12 hours on one breath. That's pretty awesome. Casey's going to be right back. So then, no, that's cool. The rebreathers are very cool. Again, stuff I don't know everything about, just because I'm not dive certified. So Dr. Don is. So if you have questions about diving and you want to see his videos, go check it out. I'm sure he's got some videos on his page, and I will be following him back and checking that out as well. So that would be very cool. And but no, that's one thing I did want to do. I mean, I'm not old enough. I mean, I'm older, and I'm not too old to dive, and I know this. Um, but I do have heart conditions, so you know, I don't know if that plays a factor in it as well or not. So, but I would still give it a shot. I ain't scared. I've been shot at in IED, and I ain't scared in no water. I know diving. Let's do it. But yeah, no, it's. I think it would be a very freeing feeling to be in the water, surrounded by all the fish and the life of the coral reefs and things like that. So give you some vitality and some life into your body while you're looking for that pot of gold. Yeah, that they left behind. It does, but I think you'll be fine. You're an army man. Well, I've also had two heart attacks. The first one was the Widowmaker. The second one was the other one, the other side. So the both left and the right side, I've got stents in right now. So, but yeah, no, I would love to do that. I'm not opposed to climbing in the water in gear and apparatus stuff. No, I don't quit. You know, and I still want to do some hang gliding. That would be awesome. And we have a spot here in Arkansas, and I'm thinking about why not just do it? Find a hang gliding instructor and let's do this. Those type things, because that would be fun. It's also free because you're above the trees and everything else, and you're gliding down to a certain spot. You know, It'd just be fun. Now I know accidents happen, and accidents happen everywhere. I will go see the Ozarks. Yeah, the Ozarks are cool. We have part of the Ozarks here in Arkansas, and they have a wide branch, so you know uh, all the way up, and hit any of them because it's beautiful everywhere. And everywhere has its beauty, except for certain places like Kansas that are just flat, you know, and that type of thing. And there's parts of Oklahoma that suck too. Then I grew up in Oklahoma, and the Salt Plains. I mean, they're pretty and all, but it's just all big sandy plain. That's just flat and nothing's going on. But in Arkansas, there's a ton of stuff to do. I mean, you can go and climb a mountain. You can hang glide. You can rappel. You can walk through forest, walk up mountains, stuff like that. Oklahoma City boy here. There you go. Sure, I'm heading to work. I truly appreciate the interaction. No, I appreciate you stopping in and checking out the show. And thank you for what you do out there, because what you do is important, and it helps preserve the sanctity of the fish out there, especially knowing where they migrate to and all that good stuff. So keep doing what you do, and we appreciate you, brother. And go get a good dive in, or whatever you're doing right now. And Oklahoma City boy here, yeah. No, I grew up right outside Oklahoma City in Bethany, Oklahoma. I was born in Oklahoma City, and my stomping grounds was pretty much anywhere in Oklahoma, as far as that goes. And I'm in Fort Smith, Arkansas area now. Not really by choice, but that was neither here nor there. So exactly, go Sooners. And it's good that Roy, Joe, Twinkle Toes, Bradley, Twilight Jr. isn't here because he's a big Hogs fan. You know, and we used to kick their arse at football every year, back in the '60s and '70s, until they decided, hey, we can't win, so let's move over to another conference. You know, and we kicked them out of ours. So, but Maine is nicer than Oklahoma. Yeah, like I said, we had some neighbors right over here that went to Maine from Arkansas and then came back, and which I still question that. It's just like, why did you come back? All that good stuff. But To each their own. Uh, Maine has its charms. I stopped there for an overnight gig on the way to Afghanistan. That was one of our stops. That was our last stateside stop uh, before we to refuel before we went on overseas. You know, and we didn't get to see much because it was dark, like I said, and so we got to see the inside of the airport there in Maine, and which wasn't much, especially since it was the I can't remember if it was the military side of it or if it was still the civilian side of it, but we didn't get to see much because, like I said, it was dark outside. You could see out the windows and stuff, but it was just like, okay, so cool. Maine is so open and not many people. And that is the birthplace of Stephen King, if I remember correctly, since he does Castle Rock stuff from there all the time. Wilderness, I'm in a forest. That's awesome. See that's the cool thing. Being out in the forest, not having people around you. Hopefully, I don't know if you do or not. I don't know how close your nearest neighbor is. I like his books. Yeah, yeah, I like Clive Barker. I like Stephen King. The list goes on and on of different authors that I do like as far as horror goes. Stephen King would be my all-time, or Clive Barker would be my all-time favorite. You're in town, Fort Kent. Okay, cool, very awesome. But yeah, no, Clive Barker would be my number one when it comes to all-time horror favorite, and then Stephen King would fall number two. Um, and then of course the list drops from there. Uh, but he personally is strange. Yeah, 100%. Stephen King or Clive Barker. They're both strange, but one is more strange than the other one. So, I've seen interviews with King and stuff like that, and then just his acting abilities as well. Since he pretty much acts in all the movies that they adapt from his uh, books. So, and yeah, some were pretty campy roles. Well, excuse me, back in the day, and and it's just like, that's just kind of funny. But yeah, I've heard that he is a very strange character. I mean, you gotta figure how strange he is since he's been hit by a truck, you know, and those type things, in which was totally on the driver's fault, but you know, and that was a that was a strange story to come out. It'd be like him writing his own book. How did I die? Oh, I was killed by a truck. Those type things. But he didn't die, folks. He didn't die. Stephen King is still alive. So don't go running off on the internet saying, "Oh my God, Stephen King's dead." Oh, because that's not true. Stephen King is not dead, not at this particular moment. But now he's going to live to about 100 years old, probably, and write some more books in between. I don't know. I think he's what 70 something now, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. So, but you're in Maine. What do you do up there, Mr. Casey? What do you do in Maine? Like I said, I've seen the pictures and things like that of all the different things that are in Maine, and pictures that they posted on their social. The next door neighbor, who used to be a work friend of ours at Wally World. So I'm retired. I'm sick. I'm dying, and coming to terms with it. I'm sorry to hear that. Uh, we're all dying, every day. Some, unfortunately, it's faster than others. And so we'll be sending those good vibes after I do this stupid puzzle that looks like Maine right there. We'll be sending those good vibes that we can your way. And, you know, as long as you live out the last days of your life the best you can, you have bone cancer and skin cancer. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. Because cancer sucks. Uh, we got some personal things in our own life. Not me personally, but girlfriend and stuff like that we're dealing with there. Uh, so and keep positive with the whole thing. those can fuck you up, unfortunately, but they can help you at the same time. Um, so I don't know what all you're going through. You know, lots of neck pain. I can imagine. I feel for you, man. I do. I really do. And I hate it for you. I hate that, they haven't come up with a cure for cancer already, even though we probably do have it out there. Um, they just don't want to release it. You get all those conspiracy theories about the stuff that they have, and what can help people, but they choose not to because hey, we're doctors. If we give you the cure, we'll be out of a job. Those type things. Not they do have a cure, but not for us. Med beds. Yeah, it needs to be used more. You know, the technology we have, we should already have this licked. We should already have this kicked, and and be able to treat it as soon as it's found. You know, and I know the technology's there. I know the cure is there, but we're not using it. As we should. So exactly, exactly. It, and and that's the sad part. It's all about the money. Because we can keep them in the hospital for forever and keep giving them radiation and chemotherapy and we reap the benefits because we get all the money. You know, they poisoned you. I'm sorry to hear that. I am because I know that there are those situations. Food, air, water, yeah, soil, yeah. No, I get that. Everything has got a pollutant in it. You know, that's why I like to do the all natural stuff. As much as possible. That's why I raise my own livestock. That's why I raise my own. Well, it's chickens and geese and turkey and things like that. Pigs. Sick as hell to the point of nausea. Dizzy. Yeah, I'm sorry. I truly feel for you, man. I mean, headaches, dizzy. Yeah, probably high blood pressure in there too, which causes some headaches to occur. I'm okay though. I'm up. Well, that's good. Just keep those positive thoughts with it all, because if you're gonna fight it. If I know you're gonna have your shit days, 100%, um, because I've seen it personally. You and there's days that you don't want to fight it, but fight it anyway. And we got your back. We'll keep sending you good vibes, your way, and we'll keep talking to you, and hopefully we'll talk to you for years and years to come. You know, you still have 15, 20 years left in you. I don't know, what age you retired at. I'm 53. I'll be 54 here in a little while. I need to lay down, so I'll catch you later. And thanks for the thoughts. See you, sir. See you later, Casey. We will be thinking about you. You're 61. Okay, so you got me by a couple years, not by much. But I mean, enjoy your retirement as much as possible. I know it sucks being sick during your retirement, but but send Casey good vibes, people. He needs them right now, and just live life to the fullest every day. Um, because unfortunately, as it says, tomorrow is not promised. It's not even promised to me. 2 heart attacks, and I could be done tomorrow. I could be done in 10 minutes. But I'm gonna fight and live life to the fullest each day that I can, and do my garden, do my homestead, do my artwork, all that good stuff. So you have a good day, Mr. Casey, and we will send you all those good vibes and as much positivity as possible on a regular basis, brother. So thank you for stopping in and being on the show. But that is it for today. We're gonna kill it. I got things I got to get done, like getting ready to go to the vet for the puppy. So, but anyway, as I like to say, as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.